Hello, welcome to this update. Let's see what's happening. So in this video we will talk about first tropical storm Debby in the southeast, and then we will talk about lots of stuff for the severe weather in the northern US and east coast, and also for Canada, and then we will talk some tropics again. So you can find the chapters in the description, so you can get to the part of the video you want. So let's start here with Debby. So we have still a tropical storm there. Let's see the track. So it's like a tropical storm parked over southern Georgia there, and then it's forecast to go in the ocean again, going to South Carolina there, and then go north and dissipate like over the northeast. So there's still tropical storm warnings for Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, and tropical storm watching parts of North Carolina there. So let's see here what else. So let's see, the rainfall potential is a little bit lower because some of this rain, most of this rain has already fallen. So but it still shows from 16 to 20 inches between South and North Carolina there. Possible shows 16 to 20 inches. In the red, some 12 to 16 inches. Some 8 to 12 inches in the orange. And the yellows are like 4 to 6 to 8 inches there. So be careful in those areas. Let's see. Still some storm surge in North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina. 2 to 4 feet. And 1 to 3 feet in other areas. So be aware there. Let's see. Still some storm surge warnings in Georgia and South Carolina, and some storm surge watches for the north. Let's see here. So potentially historic rainfall across east and South Carolina through Friday will likely result in areas of catastrophic flooding. Heavy rainfall will likely result in flooding impacts from the northern North Carolina for parts of the mid-Atlantic states and southern New England through Sunday morning. So dangerous storm surge and tropical storm conditions will spread across the southeastern U.S. coast from northeastern Georgia to North Carolina through Thursday. Storm surge and tropical storm watches and warnings are in effect for those portions of the coast and inland areas. Residents in the storm surge watch and warning should follow any advice given by local officials. So in parts of Florida where Debby has passed, deadly hazards remain, including downed power lines and flooded areas. Ensure generators are properly ventilated and avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Exercise caution when using chainsaws and power tools. Drink plenty of water and avoid heat exhaustion, and also be careful with some rip currents and rough seas along the east coast and in Florida because of the passage of this system. So let's see what else. There's also the key messages in Spanish. Please read this if you don't understand English. Let's see some tropical storm force wind probabilities. 100% there in South Carolina, and already some 60 to 70% in North Carolina, Georgia, and some other areas. And some probabilities all the way to Atlantic Canada, but like 5 to 10% there. So let's see what else. So there's Debby. It's already like very messy, so it's not very strong, but there's still a lot of heavy rainfall there. So the track, the models take this generally through the mid-Atlantic into the northeast and into the Atlantic again. And other models, some try to curve it towards Canada and dissipate there, and others take it northeast into the Atlantic again. Tropical storm strength now and then decreasing, and that's general track. So let's see what else. So here's Debby now. So this is the H-Wharf. It's forecast to continue in South Carolina, staying there a little bit more, and then the center might start moving to North Carolina later, but let's see. So but it's showing staying there a lot of time, but eventually it moves into North Carolina, Virginia, and the rest of the East Coast and kind of dissipates. but still some heavy rain on the way there. The halves B shows, let's see, the halves A here. So for Debby, shows Debby there, and all those storms and everything. The heavy rain goes into North Carolina by like Thursday, and then through the rest of the East Coast. So be aware there, the heavy rains, the storms, and stay safe. So for the severe weather associated to Debby, so there's still the slight risk tornado threat in Georgia and South Carolina. So I think Georgia is clear for now. I think that's North Carolina, South Carolina. So there's a slight risk there in parts of North and South Carolina for the tornado threat. And let's see, a general risk of storms for parts of Florida. And the tornado threat is 5% there in those areas of South Carolina and North Carolina, and 2%. So be aware. Wind, nothing for there. Hail, nothing too. Just in the other areas we'll talk about later. So let's see for tomorrow if there's something there. So just a marginal risk for tomorrow, still North and South Carolina, mainly for tornado threat still with Debby. Wind and hail, nothing. So for day 3, still a marginal in North Carolina and Virginia, potentially more of a tornado threat there because of Debby, maybe some damaging winds too. But let's see something else. So where is it? The most important thing of all. So the flooding, so there's still a high risk there today through Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So most of eastern South Carolina, except some southernmost areas that are in the moderate risk, but the moderate risk goes from southern Georgia to North Carolina to the marginal from Florida to Virginia, and the slight from Florida to North Carolina. So please be careful there. So there's at least a 70% chance of exceeding flash flood guidance. So there can be some really dangerous, devastating flooding there. So please be careful today there, and soon we will talk about the other areas. So let's see, for tomorrow, still a high risk. So yesterday was a high risk, today a high risk, and tomorrow a high risk. So like 4 days of high risk in a row, because day 3 is also a high risk. So for tomorrow, for Wednesday, August 7th, if I'm right. So it's still a high risk through North Carolina, South Carolina still in Charleston and other areas, southern North Carolina, and a moderate risk in most of eastern southern North Carolina, and all the way to South Carolina, and a marginal from Florida to Massachusetts, and a slight from Georgia to Virginia. There's also a slight tomorrow in parts of New York, Pennsylvania, I think that's New Jersey, so might be associated with Debby, but I don't think Debby will be that far north yet. So that's some other storms tomorrow. So please be careful. So like there will be 3 days of high risk in a row in the same area. So the ground will be really saturated, and there might still be flooding from the day prior. So this might be really catastrophic for some areas. Please have flood protection and stay safe and everything. And for Thursday, for day 3, there's another high risk for Thursday, day 3, in parts of North Carolina, especially Wilmington, Jacksonville, Fayette. So please be careful. They're still in South Carolina. Charleston now in the moderate for Thursday, but some areas still in the high risk for South Carolina and North Carolina, and the marginal from Florida to Maine, and the slight from Georgia to Virginia, and the moderate from South Carolina to Southern Virginia. So the moderate at least 40% chance of exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a point, and high risk at least 70% chance of that. So please be careful. This is really dangerous. Day 4, just a slight from South Carolina to Maine. So this is mainly from Debby for Friday, the slight risk there, at least 15% chance of flash flooding. And days 5, another slight from New Jersey to Maine, from the remnants of Debby there. So be careful there too. So let's see what else. some other rainfall estimates next 5 days. From the European, it still has more than, let's put this in inches again because it's still millimeters, more than 12 inches there, 10 inches in Colombia. It shows, let's see, through Myrtle Beach around 8 to 7 inches, through Charleston, let's see, 6 inches, 7 inches there in the next 5 days, but it's really showing some central areas of South Carolina could have more than 12 inches there. Still Georgia, some 7 inches, North Carolina, some 6 inches, but if we put this to the next 10 days, some 8 to 9 inches and 7 inches there. But this is the European. Let's see the GFS next 5 days. So it's still showing next 5 days, most in Georgia there, because the GFS has a different track for this storm. But close to 10 inches in Georgia, 6, 7 inches South Carolina, but don't trust this. There already is, and there will be way more than this in South Carolina. So don't trust this. Let's see the icon. The icon showing more than 9 inches, 10 inches in parts of South Carolina, 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. And more North Carolina, there's some 9, close to 10 inches for central North Carolina, going to Virginia there. So be aware. And the name in the next 60 hours, so the name is kind of different. It's in hours, so in the next 60 hours, about 2 days and a half, so it has already more than 14 inches in South Carolina, 12 inches in North Carolina, so the name is a little bit more radical, but you gotta be ready for anything, you never know. So please be careful there. And the European, in the next 10 days, for the rest of the Northeast, it has through Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, more than 4 inches, some 5 inches, 6 inches in Pennsylvania. Through New York, some 5 inches, let's see, 4 inches there. More rain through Maine and other areas. So be careful, please. This will be really dangerous. So it's still at a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm. Might be some gusts of 50 miles per hour or something, but it's very disorganized now, so no major threat, but there might be some strong winds still. Let's see, like there Tuesday, so it still shows, it shows worst in the ocean there, but it still shows gusty winds, especially through Georgia there. Some, why is this in kilometers per hour again? Let's see. So it shows close to 39 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour there. And then as this moves, might be worse in the ocean there, but like Thursday, the European has this moving to South Carolina there, just like the National Hurricane Center track. There might be more than 60 mile per hour winds there, and then it moves, and then more gusty winds as this goes into Virginia and North Carolina later. So stay safe and be aware there. So in terms of severe weather for the rest of the country, let's see, there's now an enhanced risk for Pennsylvania, parts of Ohio and near New York. So, and there's a slight risk from Indiana to New Jersey, and a slight risk in Montana, Wyoming, and South Dakota, and another bigger slight risk in southern Arizona, and a marginal in southern California and southern Arizona, and from Debby there. So the tornado threat is also 5% in Ohio, going to Pennsylvania, 2% from Indiana to Pennsylvania, and the 5% from Debby. So be careful there too in Pennsylvania and Ohio. There might be a tornado or 2 or even 3. So let's see, the wind threat is the greatest there in Pennsylvania in those areas on the enhanced risk. So at least 30% chance of 50 knot winds or higher within 25 miles of a point. So let's see, 15% there in the northern Rockies and the plains, in Montana, parts of Wyoming and South Dakota, and 5% from Colorado to Montana, and 15% in Arizona there, and 5%. So be careful in those areas, especially in Pennsylvania and Ohio. the hail threat is only 5% there in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and New Jersey, and parts of Indiana, and 15% in Montana there for hail, and 5%. So be careful there. Let's see. Severe thunderstorms capable of damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes will affect parts of the northern Ohio into the New Jersey today. Other areas of concern include Montana into western South Dakota, coastal Carolinas, and across parts of Arizona. So be careful in those areas. For tomorrow shows a marginal risk parts of Colorado, South Dakota, Minnesota, southeastern North Dakota, northwestern Kansas, and Nebraska, and the marginal risk from Debby. So tornado threat just from Debby tomorrow, wind threat 5% there in those areas, and hail threat a little bit smaller, 5%. So be aware. And general risk of storms. Isolated strong thunderstorms will be possible from eastern Wyoming and Colorado into parts of Central Plains late Wednesday afternoon and evening, with more isolated activity into the northern plains. A few strong thunderstorms associated with Tropical Storm Debby may impact coastal Carolinas Wednesday, so be careful there. For Thursday, just the marginal risk I already showed from Debby there. So, and some general risk of thunderstorms in other areas there of the country. So let's see, showers and thunderstorms developing across coastal plain of eastern North Carolina through southeastern Virginia may be accompanied by potential for a few tornadoes as Debby moves inland across the South Atlantic coast on Thursday. So be aware there. Sorry for this. So let's see here. What else? So the HER shows Tropical Storm Debby there in the rain bands through North and South Carolina, potential tornado threat there, so be careful. Stay tuned up to the warnings and radio. Let's see, maybe it's a thunderstorm or two in the Bahamas and Florida. It shows those storms going there in Michigan, going through Ohio, another line through Pennsylvania, and those storms in Ohio there pass through southern Ontario, go to Ohio, then to Pennsylvania again. Those first storms going to New Jersey and New York, then the other line later in Pennsylvania goes to New Jersey again. So please be careful through New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, southern Ontario, and Ohio. So let's see, in the west, it shows the storms in Montana this afternoon, and the strongest storms in southern Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba and North Dakota, but especially Montana there, going to South Dakota, later this evening North Dakota, some more Montana, and other areas there. So yeah, southern Arizona shows some storms through Arizona there, through Mexico, and then yeah, not much the marginal risk goes all the way to southeastern California, but shows most storms in Arizona. But be aware in all of those areas. And the fire threat is elevated from Nevada to Idaho and Oregon and southwestern Montana. So be aware there. And isolated dry thunderstorms possible in Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, northeastern Nevada, Montana, and Idaho. So be aware. Tomorrow, still some isolated dry thunderstorms possible in Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming, and elevated fire threat in southern Idaho. So be aware there. The excessive rainfall for the other parts of the country. So we already saw from Debby there, but there's also a moderate risk in parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and southern New York and Long Island. So please be careful there too from those storms today. At least 5% chance of flash flooding there too, and the slight risk there around it, and marginal risk parts of the northeast. Slight risk in southern Arizona, marginal risk in the southwest, and marginal risk in Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota, and Wyoming. So please be careful, especially with Debby. And for tomorrow, still the high risk with Debby there, and that slide I showed you in parts of the Mid-Atlantic at the marginal. So in the marginal in the southwest, I didn't show you. So day 3, a slight in Colorado and New Mexico, and a slight, he's light there, and a marginal in parts of the southwest and the plains, and the high risk with Debby there. So please be careful. Day 4, the slight risk from Debby on the east, and another slight risk in New Mexico and Colorado, Oklahoma Panhandle, and the marginal. So be careful there. Day 5, another marginal in the Rockies, the Southwest, and the Plains, and the slide there from Debby. So please be careful. And let's see here some precipitation. So for today, you can see it's kind of in a swirl because Debby is spinning, so it shows more than 7 inches in those light green potential today there, and shows, but they might be lower or higher. So let's see, shows some in Mexico, in Arizona, parts of the west, and especially in the north there, because another system shows more in the mid-Atlantic from that moderate risk. Tomorrow shows more in Canada, parts of the west and the north, and more with Debby there, shows close to 5 inches in North and South Carolina tomorrow, so be careful. Day 3 still shows some 3 to 4 inches and a half in parts of Virginia and North Carolina, and some 2 to 4 inches in South Carolina still, but mainly North Carolina, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania from Debby. More the southwest there, and the northeast in Canada. Day 4 shows more in the northeast, so this is Saturday, August 10th, shows more in the northeast from Debby, some 3 to 5 inches, but mainly 3 to 4 inches. So be aware there, some 2 inches in many areas. More in the southwest and the plains. Day 5 shows more for Sunday across Canada as Debby, the remnants of Debby moved that way through May and June. More in the plains and the west. The next Monday shows a little bit more in the north, but not much, and more in the plains there and other areas. For next Tuesday, more in the plains, some central areas, and isolated in other areas. So days 1 through 7 shows a lot in Colorado there, northern New Mexico, parts of Montana, North Dakota, and some more areas from some thunderstorms and the monsoon, and shows the total precipitation from Debby there, more than 15 inches between North and South Carolina there. So be careful there through the East Coast too because of Debby and the other storms. So please be careful. Let's see here. Today's some extreme heat risk in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, some majors in the northeast, some major heat risk in parts of the west, and some extremes. Wednesday, more extreme heat risk in the south, some majors there. Thursday, more extreme heat risk in Texas, in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, some moderates on the west, majors in Florida. Friday, more extreme heat risk in the south. Saturday, still some extremes and some moderates. Sunday, more extremes and majors in Texas. Let's see, Monday, some more extremes and majors in Texas. So be aware there. Let's see. So the temperatures for today, the maximum temperatures shows more than 100 there in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, some 90s in other areas, 114 in the west, lots of 100s and 90s on the west. Let's see, tomorrow shows, wait, this is low, so more than 105 in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, 101, some 90s, 100s there in the southwest. In the coast might be around some 70s, but inland in California more than 100. Day 3 shows more than 100s in the plains too, some 100s in the southwest, some 90s. Day 4 shows some 100s there in the south still, some 100s there in the southwest, some 90s in the south. Let's see, day 5 shows the days on top here, Saturday, so shows more 100s in the southern Texas, more 100s in the southwest, parts of the south. Let's see, day 6, let's see, still 100s in Texas, some 90s in the southeast, 100s on the west, southwest especially, and more day 7 next Monday, more 100s in the south in Texas and New Mexico, Oklahoma and the southwest. So be careful. The 24-hour max wind gusts for today So only like winds by themselves, not considering the severe storms. So shows, but this map consider, but not much, because if this map showed the severe weather, it will show some tremendous winds through the northeast, but it's not showing. So let's see, but some wind gusts by themselves show gusty winds in Wyoming, in the Rockies there, more gusty winds in Montana, parts of the plains, especially southern Arizona and California. And from Debby there shows the worst in the ocean, but still there might be some pockets of 50 to 60 miles per hour winds. So this is valid until August 7th at 1 p.m. So let's see what else. So now for Canada, some thunderstorms first. Let's see. So today is Tuesday, so it shows some moderate thunderstorms possible through southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, southern Alberta there. So let's see. So some minor thunderstorms throughout the areas in the gray there, but those storms could be stronger in those yellow areas, potentially some severe thunderstorms in those yellow areas there. So be aware. So this is like similar to the other map. So some moderate thunderstorms. Let's see, for tomorrow, still a similar things, some severe possible in southern Saskatchewan, some close to southern Alberta, some other thunderstorms. Let's see, some minor thunderstorms in other areas. So some wind and heavy rain mainly. So this is the prairies. So for Northwestern Territories, nothing. British Columbia for today, just maybe some moderate thunderstorms possible this afternoon in southeastern British Columbia. Let's see, tomorrow just some minor storms. For Ontario, show some moderate thunderstorms in southernmost Ontario because of the severe weather in Ohio. So be aware, southern Ontario, some severe storms possible there. More, let's see, some minor thunderstorms for the north. Tonight doesn't show much, but tomorrow during the day, more northern Ontario there. Some minor thunderstorms possible tomorrow during the day. Let's see, day 3, some minor thunderstorms in western Ontario too, and southern Ontario. So Quebec, let's see, it doesn't show much for Quebec today. Mainly for like easternmost Quebec there, some thunderstorms possible, and for tomorrow too. But for today, nothing. But you never know. So for Atlantic Canada, for today, show some minor thunderstorms possible through Newfoundland and Labrador, but nothing crazy. For tomorrow, nothing crazy. For day 3, doesn't have anything yet. So yeah, be aware there. Let's see. So the alerts, this change all the time, but there I have some severe thunderstorm watches in southern Saskatchewan there. Conditions will fall for the development dangerous thunderstorms may produce strong winds, damaging winds, and large hail and heavy rain. So these thunderstorms will develop mid-afternoon and drift southeast towards the evening hours. Some of the storms may become severe, with the threat being strong winds and hail. So be careful there. So this will be until like late evening in southern British Columbia and Alberta, like I showed you there. Conditions for the development of severe thunderstorms may produce strong winds, gusts, large hail, and heavy rain. Large hail, yeah. So be aware in like southern Alberta and British Columbia too. Some air quality statements there still for the smoke. Be careful with the fires. Heat warnings there still. So daytime temperatures high in the 20s and low 30s. Be careful. And even there's a tiny little warning there, that's heat warning too, for some hot weather. So let's see some air quality advisories for northern Alberta there, for the wildfires and smoke. Heat warnings in the northwestern territories, so be aware there. 29 to 33 degrees Celsius, possibly daytime high temperatures. Some special weather statements for temperatures reaching near 36 Celsius combined with overnight lows of 10 degrees. So heat warnings for Yukon as well. Let's see some special weather statements for some high temperatures in Yukon, Western Territories, and yeah, mainly there, the Northwestern Territories and Yukon. Let's see, Saskatchewan, more air quality advisories for the smoke from the wildfires. Some rain warnings in southern Ontario, mainly severe thunderstorm watch and rainfall warning. So the severe thunderstorm watch says conditions for the event severe thunderstorms can producing strong wind gusts and heavy rain in southern Ontario. Wind gusts up to 90 kilometers per hour, locally heavy rain, and there's a risk of an isolated tornado there. So be aware too, possibly an isolated tornado. So special weather statements for heavy rain in southern Ontario, and this is mainly it. So so be careful there in those areas. In the U.S., still some tropical storm warnings, tornado watches there, severe thunderstorm watches in the northeast, red flag warnings, heat warnings, heat advisories in the west, some smoke air quality advisories, some blowing dust advisories in southern Arizona, some heat advisories in other areas, and other stuff. So this is mainly it. So stay safe in those areas. And if you are tuning in from Central America or the Caribbean, now is your time. Let's see what we have. So we still have that area of interest there in the Atlantic. So it's 30% chance of development still and 10%. So showers and thunderstorms located with a tropical wave over the Central Caribbean have diminished in coverage and intensity since this morning. Early development of the system should be slow to occur during the next couple of days while it moves westward over the Central Caribbean Sea. Environmental conditions are expected to become more conducive later this week as it moves Western Caribbean or the southern Gulf of Mexico. So it still might develop there. And let's see, there's Debby, and they still don't have anything out for that other area. I'll show you in a minute. And the Eastern Pacific is kind of crazy. So the other storms there, like Carlotta and the other storm, already have died this morning there. So, but yesterday we had 4 tropical storms on the board there. But now there's Fabio and Emilia. They are very close to each other there. So let's show you some satellite imagery. So that's Fabio and that's Emilia, if I'm right, or Fabio's there and Emilia's there. But they are very close to each other, and they are like, they might combine into one storm there. So let's show you for the imagery here. So Gulf of Mexico. So let's see. So there's Fabio and Emilia. So and they will like spin around each other there until they combine later. So this is kind of rare, but they are very close to each other. Might try to combine there, but let's see some other storms. So this is Debby. So that's Emilia. There, it's forecast to maybe turn into a hurricane, go out and die there, not affecting land. Models take it there. Let's see, potentially some hurricane strength. Let's see, and there's Fabio. So that's Fabio. So just a tropical storm there, might die later. So let's see, potentially hurricane strength too, but mainly a tropical storm. And we also have 2 invests in the Western Pacific. So we might mention this later in the video, or make another video later for them. So let's see some models. So let's see here the Atlantic Ocean. We have Debby there, and then this wave crossing over Central America might dump more heavy rain in Nicaragua and Honduras. Be aware there. Crossover try to develop in the Gulf, but not really making it. But it might try to become something weak, but not really. But the next wave coming is showing it stronger there. Potentially, like the European doesn't have it developing yet, but it might try. It shows a pretty substantial wave there. So this is the GFS actually. So let's see the European. So that was the GFS before. Let's see, the 0Z has Debby there. The other wave trying to turn into something in the Caribbean, but not really making it. Just heavy rain for Central America. And there's the next wave there, It tries to develop into something, brings more heavy rain to the Caribbean by August 13th, and then potentially forms. So the European actually has this developing by August 16th, just north of the Turks and Caicos. So this is the US European. The Canadian has, let's see, so it has that disturbance there, trying to turn into something, but mainly a heavy rain threat for Central America, and then not really develops. And the next wave coming, the Canadian tries to put out something, but not really. So let's see what else. So next 5 days of rainfall has more rains and storms for parts of San Andreas and Nicaragua there. So shows, why is this in inches? So let's see. It has close to 70 millimeters in Nicaragua from those storms, mainly from the tropical wave. Some 37 millimeters, wait, 37, 43 millimeters in Honduras. So be aware, might be some storms there too. But the Europeans showing more heavy rain for El Salvador. So more than 122 millimeters in El Salvador. It's showing southern Honduras, northwestern Nicaragua, more than 100 millimeters. So it's showing more on the Pacific there. More rain across Guatemala and Belize, but nothing crazy. Just some more showers and daytime thunderstorms. But for Costa Rica, it's kind of crazy. So more than 122, 160 millimeters in the next 5 days in Costa Rica. There might be a lot of thunderstorms and lots of showers, so be careful there with some storms, showers, especially some flash flooding. Let's see, southern Mexico shows more there, be aware some thunderstorms, and all through western Mexico shows more thunderstorms and more rains there, so be aware. More rain in Cuba, might be some daytime storms in Dominican Republic and Haiti too, some showers in Jamaica, maybe a storm or two. Let's see, more showers and maybe an isolated storm in the Eastern Caribbean next 5 days. So be aware there. The GFS has more in Costa Rica too, like the European, has more Nicaragua, some 80 millimeters, and more for Western Mexico there, Southern Mexico, Northern Belize, and more areas, and also Panama, some more heavy rains in parts of Panama too. So be careful there. So let's just see some model stuff, and then this is it. This is already too long, so let's see. So the European, it's showing, let's see, maybe some low pressures trying to spin there from that first system, but nothing crazy. Let's put this to 96 hours. So let's see, 60 hours here. So 116 hours shows maybe some possibilities, but nothing crazy. Maybe over Central America something, or in the southwestern Gulf, but it doesn't really have anything crazy. There's Debby there. Let's see to 162 hours. Shows some more possibilities in the southern Gulf of Mexico, potentially to Mexico there, but there's only a few members, so not much going on there. And some members already start showing something in the Atlantic there. And let's put this to the end. There's a lot of members showing this developing right north of Hispaniola in the southwestern portion of the basin there. So that there's higher confidence that this system might try to form there in that region. Some take it closer to the Caribbean, but most take it just north there. Even one crosses the Caribbean. And yeah, maybe something later, but this is mainly it. The GFS ensembles is showing less there, but still some members are showing some hurricanes, some tropical storms there possible, but less confidence than the European, showing something possible for the Caribbean, and maybe something in the Caribbean and the Gulf, but still very low chance on that. So yeah, so be careful there, stay safe. Let's just see some European cyclone probabilities. So for the Atlantic there, so it's 100% now because of Debby, of course. So let's see, continues 100% from Debby, nothing else there. continues, Debby continues through the eastern U.S. and East Coast, and some 5 to 10% probability start popping the southern Gulf there, but very low. Let's see, and then those probabilities diminish, Debby continues going, and then later some probabilities start appearing in the southwestern Atlantic, like 10 to 20% in the orange, and then it grows a little bit more to a 10 and 20% probabilities there by August 16th. This is, and then later those probabilities go north, remaining 10 to 20%, and even by Sunday the 18th it goes to 20 to 30% chance of cyclone genesis there in parts just north of the Bahamas, and through Bermuda 10 to 20%, so something might try to get going there. But this is mainly it. Thanks for watching and stay safe.